So it's starting. Okay, we're on the air. Hey guys, I'm here with Andrew, a fellow INFJ. Andrew, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hi. Well,
It's starting.
you
Okay.
already know
Oh,
my name,
we're
right?
sorry. I have
On the air.
Right?
Hey guys, that was my bad moment. I didn't mute the audio on the actual. So go ahead. Sorry for that interruption.
Yeah, that used to happen to me. Yeah, I know that issue. That's annoying. Yeah. So my name's Andrew. I'm an INFJ. I'm about to graduate college. I'm in my last semester. I'm studying applied mathematics, minor in computer science. So yeah, all that neat stuff. But on my free time, I like to focus a lot on music. I like to upload videos on music. I like to do like covers of artists like Radiohead, Elliott Smith. I like to talk about music. I just started vlogging on my channel, so yeah, like I just talk about music mainly, and that's about it.
Would you like to plug your YouTube channel? I can also put it in the description.
Yeah. Should I send a link or something?
Yeah, and I mean, you can say it right now too.
Andrew Alarcon, my full name. So my last name, you spell it Alarcon, and you should find it. It should be somewhere on YouTube. Yeah.
I'll also put it in the description once we're done.
Cool. Awesome.
So I guess kind of starting off, how did you discover that you were an INFJ?
Well, I was taking a summer class one time, and it was like a computer science class, and I met this guy. He used to sit next to me, and one day he like texted me. He's like, "Hey, take this test real quick." I'm like, "What? Why?" And so I was pretty ignorant back then because for whatever reason. But I clicked on the link, and it was the Myers-Briggs test. And so I answered the questions in class, and it said INFJ, and I didn't really know what that meant. And at the time, I didn't bother reading everything because, like I said, I was ignorant and whatever. But then, actually, like a year later, I was very interested in wondering what that page said. So I took the test again, and it said INFJ again. And I started reading through everything. I was like, wow, this is a little scary of how accurate the results were. Some spots here and there were a little off, but I mean, I feel like you can't generalize. You can't be that specific, or do you know what I mean? I don't know if I'm making sense. Yeah.
I mean, what website were you reading off of? Did it happen to be 16personalities.com?
That's the one, yeah.
My dreaded, that's like the dreaded website.
Why is it dreaded?
Well, okay. So I think with I actually use 16personalities.com as like a quick way to kind of gauge where people are. I don't take the results at face value. I just am like, okay, well, take this test really quickly. And I mean, it's not super quick, but it's like 5. If you do it without thinking about it too much and you just go with your gut answer, it can be anywhere between 5 minutes. But anyways, I just think that a lot of the descriptions in MBTI about the types, specifically that website, they tend to idealize certain types, and also they don't really show the real good and bad of each type. They kind of just say the positive stuff, especially for INFJ. I know they have the section where it's like your good and bad qualities, but it's like
strengths and weaknesses.
Yeah. And they'll say something like, oh, you're too much of a people pleaser. It's like, I don't know. It just seems very surface level to me, but it is interesting.
Yeah, it is. But what would be a site that like is more specific if that other site was like the dreaded test taking to see what type you are?
Well, I mean, some people do not agree with me on this, but I've said this in a few videos,
Mhm.
actually more than a few, but Socionics is like MBTI on steroids, and some people are in the frame of mind that it doesn't transfer over. I personally believe it does, except for the P and the J for introverts is switched. So if you were to look up what an INFJ would be an MBTI, and again, I
Mhm.
know some people are going to be like, it doesn't transfer over all the way. But cognitively, you would be an INFp in socionics. So if you look at the INFp descriptions and just, or IEI, and also not just, I wouldn't even just say that if you don't want to get into socionics, because I think that's, I've said this before, but it's a rabbit hole. I think what would be good is even just watching, like, for example, um, Michael Pierce's channel, or even like other INFJ channels like Wenz's and
Mhm.
some of the ones that get really deep dive. Um, but yeah, that's what I would recommend over 16personalities.com. But I think it is like a good,
Mhm.
the reason why it's dreaded to me is that people will test, they'll take the test and they'll get a result and then they mistype, which is
Yeah,
very
yeah,
common.
yeah. I heard about that. It's like a common thing that happens.
Yeah.
But there was this other channel that I recently discovered a few months ago. She's a musician too, and I used to watch her covers. And then she posted like this video about being an INFJ and like a musician. I found that very relatable, and like how our tendencies were, how like I found it fascinating how like someone I didn't know had like very similar tendencies um, towards like songwriting and just being a person in general. I found that really cool. But
What
yeah,
channel is it?
Tawny Lucas. I think that's it. Yeah, Tawny.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, she's pretty good at playing guitar also.
That's cool. Um, so when did you get into music? Like how old were you and kind of what drew you in musically?
Well, that's pretty funny. I actually just uploaded a video yesterday talking about that exact thing, actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So, I was like 5 years old when I started listening to the Police because my dad had this greatest hits Police record that me and my brother used to listen to. And then like me and my brother have like this older cousin, and like he showed us like Linkin Park and Blink 182, and I was like 5, 6 years old and started listening to all this music. And then just as time went on, like music just was a big part of my life. But I didn't start playing music until I was like 15 or 16, something like that. But yeah, it's something that's I wouldn't be able to picture my life without it. That's for sure.
So I assume when you say that, have there been times where you've really looked towards music as like a sense of comfort or just like being able to relate to something in general, or what exactly, what do you mean by you couldn't imagine your life without music?
Well, I mean, like the first thing you said, like I feel like um, I mean everyone has ups and downs in life, so I feel like uh, I used music as, for lack of a better word, like a crutch to lean on whenever I wasn't feeling like 100%. Like I specifically recall this one semester. This is gonna sound like ridiculous, but like I remember like I had like 4 midterms in like 2 days, and I just bombed all of them. And like at like the end of the week, and I felt like I had nothing but just to listen to music or just like play guitar, just to like unwind. Um, yeah, like let's say I didn't have music. Like what would I do if I didn't have music at that moment? Sleep for 29 hours? I don't know. I don't know, something like that. But um Yeah, or like going through a breakup or like passing in the family. That music always helps in those specific moments. Yeah.
I agree. I definitely agree. I could not imagine my life without music
Mhm.
either. Kind of going into your college experience, what got you into mathematics and computer science?
Well, I originally I was out of college for like because I transferred after 3 years. So at my original school, I was originally an electrical engineering major, and that was kind of like a shot in the dark because I had no idea what to do with my life. Because like what 18-year-old does. So I was just like whatever, I'm gonna do this. And I did terrible one semester. I like dropped one class. I got a D in chemistry and like I failed calculus too. It was like all terrible. Like it was a very bad semester, but it was like I think it was like my second semester or something like that. And I realized I was like, okay, maybe this isn't cut out. I'm not cut out for this. And so then I changed majors to be an economics major. And I finished enough classes so that like I could have a minor in economics, but then I realized I was like, I don't really like this. So then I there's like a month where I just like because I had a very long commute. It took me like 2.5 hours to go to school, and then I had to travel 2.5 hours to come back home. So I had a lot of time to think to myself. And so I wondered like, okay, like what am I good at and what can I see myself like working with in the future? Um, so I thought about like what the kind of student I was back in like elementary school. In elementary school, like I didn't like anything but math, and so I thought to myself like, what happened to that passion? Like I used to love math so much, and then um, I was like, let me try being a math major. And so I retook calculus 2, and then like I fell in love with the subject, and yeah, and computer science was just a nice thing to um, combine the mathematics with, so I can like apply it to like a real world sense. Because I don't really like the pure mathematics side to things. I'm more of like an applied mathematician, and so computer science can go well with applied mathematics. Sorry if it looks like I'm shivering. I'm like freezing my basement. Also, I'm a little yeah, but yeah,
Um,
that's it for my college. How I went to mathematics.
well, that's an interesting journey. I guess it makes sense. I think it's always good to kind of look back at the things that you are interested as a child because I think those are very pure thoughts and interests.
Mhm.
Also, if you don't mind me asking, where exactly do you live? I know you live in New York, but
Yeah,
or what area?
I live like on the border of Queens and Long Island. So like the
Oh,
first town of
cool.
Long Island, basically. So yeah, that's as specific I'll go. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I don't. No,
I'm
tell
not
me
gonna be
this.
like, here's my exact address and
Yeah,
maybe social
let's
media
get
also.
on. Do you have Snapchat?
I do have a Snapchat, but
Oh, I was gonna say like you know how like on Snapchat they have like the snap maps if you like turn it on for people.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
like yeah, just show me your snap map location. I feel like that's so
That's
creepy. I have it turned off for only
like
I only have it turned on for people. What?
I said that's like ultimate stalker status for like another person to see where you are.
Yeah.
I don't know, things like that I try to stay away from. Like I turn off all the what do you call that? What's that setting on the phone? It's not navigation. Uh,
Oh, the location
yeah,
setting?
location. Oh my God, how did I not think of that location thing? I turn that off on all social media because like I don't want people to know where I am. It's weird, but
Yeah.
yeah,
I mean, well, I guess I'm prone to being a little bit more out there because I mean, as far as I don't have like my location that you can check where I am, but as far as snap maps go, I mean, I have it turned on for certain friends and stuff. And also I can see certain friends, so I'll be like, oh, where's my friend Nick? And I'll just like zoom in on his apartment.
That's really weird. Well, see, the thing is for me, I'm very I'm so glad none of my friends are watching this because like I'm very antisocial. So like someone like a friend of mine could be like, "Hey, like want to hang out tonight?" And I'd be like, "Nah, I'm busy." And but then I'm just like really I'm at home just not being busy. So like if I were
So
to go,
if
what?
you turned on your location, people would catch you in your lies.
Exactly. So, yeah, that's I'm extremely introverted. But like extremely introverted sometimes. I don't know how to describe it. Like um there's like a group of friends like I hate there's like a group of friends like I always love seeing, but like um even my closest friends like I need time away from. Like I remember one time my friend was like, "Hey, like in the future I want us to all buy one big house so we can live inside of it together." And everyone was like agreeing with her. I'm like, "Hold on. I don't want to see you guys every single day. Like I need alone time. There's no way I can but I feel like that's something I need to fix for lack of a better word. Cause like um I don't know, in the future, like I don't know when I'm getting married. First I gotta like be in a relationship first. But anyway, like obviously when you're married with someone, you spend every day with them. So like how am I gonna marry someone if I want to be alone so much of the time? I don't know how
Yeah.
that works. Yeah.
I think there's a lot of growing involved. I'm not the best person to ask, obviously, for
Yeah.
recent events. But not that I was living with him, but still.
I'm sorry about
I
that.
how okay. Jonas actually asked how old you are. You're in your final year of college, so
I am 76. Oh, no, I'm
oh,
20.
you're a really good looking 76-year-old.
Thanks. I take a lot of vitamin C. That's a secret.
And you dye your hair.
No, I'm 23 years old. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Am I don't oh, only you can see the chat box, right?
No, you can see it.
Oh, well,
Oh,
all
are
right.
you okay? So what you have to do,
Yeah.
sorry, I always forget that people are new to this. You have to, so we're on Google Hangout, which is a separate, it's through YouTube, but it's like a separate thing. So you have to go onto YouTube like separately. So
Uh,
just open a new tab or whatever and just click on the stream.
okay.
And then what I do is I just mute the volume.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. Well, I was just curious because I don't want to look at the chat because that might distract me and make me even more nervous or something.
Why are you
Yeah.
nervous?
I don't
There's
know
nothing
because
to be nervous
I don't know
about.
why. It's just I remember when I sent the email when I sent the email to you about like wanting to do this. Like I sent it and then immediately I was like, "What am I doing?"
And then
'Cause
of
I don't
course
know.
I
What'd you
like
say?
responded very quickly too because I look at the emails, so you can't
Oh
take it back.
god.
You can't be like,
I don't
oh
know,
shit.
but it's one of those things where like you ever get that feeling when you want to do something but like at the same time you're scared to do it but like you know it's good for you anyway.
Oh
Yes,
yeah.
this is like one of those things, but yeah. I don't know.
Well, I'm glad that you're coming out of your shell, and I'm glad that you're doing this interview.
Yes, me
Um,
too.
and again, you look great for 76. You know. Wow, you're such a catch. I could just you could get all the young ladies.
Whoa, whoa, are you condoning huge age gaps relationships like that? I don't know if that what I
Um,
just said made any
no,
sense, but
I feel like for me,
yeah.
I mean everybody's different, but I
Yeah.
don't think I feel like a few years is like as much as I would do.
Yeah, me too. Um it also depends like I feel like there's a huge difference between like an 18-year-old and a 22, 23-year-old.
Oh
But
yeah.
then, like, if you take that same amount of age and just shift it to, like, what was that, 5 years? So, like, a 30-year-old and 35-year-old, that's, like, they're kind of, like, on the same playing
Yes.
ground. So it's all about, like, life experience or at that point. But once you start hitting, like, I don't know, 15 years, that's kind of, like, a long time. So
Yeah. I mean, but like you said, I think once you're older, so like maybe like a 45-year-old with, I don't know, um, whatever age. I can't think. I'm like not doing math. No, like a 45-year-old with a 60-year-old. That doesn't seem too, well, it's still weird. I don't
45
know,
to a 6-year-old?
not that bad. 60,
Oh.
not 16. That would be really bad.
Well,
That
you're
would
like
not
16,
go
I'm like
down in this
6,
country.
so
I
yeah.
don't know what country you think we live in, Andrew.
I don't know what country is that.
Unfortunately, I
Oh,
think there
man.
are some countries that are okay with that.
Yeah, that is a little, strange.
Well, and I actually think that the age of consent, especially in these parts near South Carolina, maybe in Mississippi or somewhere like that, they would be okay with that. But I think the age of consent for a lot of places in the US is 16. So,
That's, like, really young.
yeah.
Like, Jesus. But I'm, like,
Okay.
thinking back when I was
Um,
16, like, holy crap, I didn't even know what I wanted to, like, eat for breakfast. And you're saying that's, like, the age of consent. I don't know, that's just my opinion. But
yeah, no, I agree with that. I mean, I feel like I've changed just in the last few years. I think you were right about like when you hit like 22 or 23, that's like I think when people really like I feel like 21, when you're at 21, it's like, "Oh, I'm young. I'm still young and stuff." And it's like you're hitting it's like, "Woo!" And then 22, it's like you start realizing, "Hey, I'm an adult." Like
yeah, I remember when I turned 22, 22 was, like, the year I grew up, like, the most because, um sorry. Oh, man. You know when, like, the burp, like, explodes in your chest or something?
yeah.
Ow. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, yeah. Um, up until I turned 22, I was I never realized how much, like, uh, I ignored my how much I ignored growing up. Not in a way like, "Oh, I'm never gonna grow up," just, like, something that, like, I just never thought about. And so when something, really significant happened at my life at that point when I was about to turn 21, I was like, "Holy crap, like, I don't know how to be an individual." Like, I had no, like, I'm 100% serious, like, I had no clue, how to, I'm trying to say this without being too specific. Um, how do I say this in a general way? Like, like, growing up, I always, was emotionally, reliant on something. And so, like, um, when I turned 22, like, that reliance was, like, not there anymore, and so I was like, "Holy crap, like, what do I do now?" Like, I have so much, like, headspace in my head, like, I I didn't know how to be myself. I didn't know how to be comfortable in my own skin. I didn't know how to, um, open up to people who I, like, deem worthy or whatever. Like, all that stuff would kinda, like, happen sort of automatically, like, in earlier years, but it was something that, like, I just never worked on, and it was something that I needed to really, increase my skill in. What a terrible phrase, but, uh, yeah, that 22 was, like, the most growing up I've ever, um, gone through. So, I don't know. That was, like, a quarter life crisis for me, but yeah, it was an interesting time though because I'm glad that I went through that because now I wouldn't be who I am today. Not to say that I'm, like, perfect now, like, there's still tons of things that I would love to work on, um, but yeah, There's like a large list of things, but like I'm like blanking out right now. But I'm sure it'll surface in this conversation or something.
Yeah, we'll just talk about everything you need to work on in life. Just kidding. Like, I'm perfect, so let me tell you what to do. No. I mean, I feel like anybody that watches my channel knows that I'm not perfect, and I don't even try to be. I don't know what Henry's doing, my dog, but I can hear him, and I have a strong inclination or a strong feeling that he is probably digging his little nose in the cat litter box.
Let him be. He just wants the cat litter.
I actually have a video of him. So I've talked about this, I feel like, before, but I've caught Henry pooping and peeing in the cat litter box.
Great.
Yeah.
Pet goals. Wow, that's, I always think about having pets. Like, I don't think I could. If I were to get a dog, it would have to be like the chillest dog in the world. Like, I wouldn't be able to. My cousin has this dog, and every time we go over his house, his dog is very social and gets very excited when she sees people. And so, like, literally, it could be anyone. It could be the worst person on the planet. She'll be happy to see that person. Like, she'll be just jumping around and barking like crazy. And every time I go to my cousin's house, I'm like, wow, this is very overwhelming. So, it's either I get a chill dog or I get a cat. So I don't know.
I feel like I mean, with a dog, the thing about dogs is, I mean, not every dog, but most dogs, when they're puppies, they are, like, Henry is only one. So he has a few, I feel like he has a good year until he'll kind of chill out. Also, he's not neutered. That has a lot to do with it. But yeah, I mean, cats are pretty chill.
Yeah. But I mean, my cousin's dog is pretty old, so like that young factor doesn't play.
Oh, well then.
Yeah, so like,
don't know what to say.
She acts like a puppy, but she is not a puppy. She's a fully grown dog. Yeah.
Let's see. So Purple Runner said, geez, did I just start my self-improvement journey young? I know you're 19, talking to Purple Runner, but I think I started at like 12 or 13, so I don't know. I wouldn't say 19's like super young. But I do think I think 19's a time where a lot of people start realizing it's another year where you're like, when you're 18, it's like, ooh, I'm an adult. And then 19 and 20 are like the most awkward years, I feel like. And then 22 is also pretty awkward. But
awkward in terms of what?
Like when you turn 19 and like 19, or at least in the US, I should say, 19 and 20, it's like you're an adult, but you can't do anything about it. And it's not like cool being 18. Do you know what I'm saying?
Not really.
Like, you can't drink.
I was pretty lame when I was 18, so I don't know.
Well, I mean, I was really lame too. But like, I remember being like 18 or 19 and wanting to go to certain places. I specifically remember going on a trip with like, for my university, and I was like one of the only teenagers there, or the only person that was like under 21. And I couldn't go to like, I mean, I don't smoke hookah, but I like the smell of it, and like I like going with people. And they wouldn't let me into the hookah bars, and I was just like,
no,
what?
That sucks. Yeah, actually, when you put it that way, that I had a similar experience when I was like 16. I wanted to go to a concert so bad, but it was 18 and over, and like, oh my god, I was just like heartbroken that I couldn't go. It was just like the worst feeling. But and then again, the same thing happened when I was 18. Like, oh, I can't go to this concert because I have to be 21. Like, stuff like that is annoying. But, yeah.
Well, Purple Runner said that he was 11. Yeah, I mean, I would say that's pretty young to like start. But I think as an intuitive, I don't know what level you're talking about, Purple Runner. what level that would be. I think, I don't know. It's hard to say because I feel like I was always aware. I don't know about you. Were you pretty aware as a child?
Aware in terms of what?
Like, were you pretty aware of like people's, just your surroundings in general? I mean, not surroundings, but like um people's motivations
And
and stuff.
tendencies and stuff.
What?
And tendencies.
Yes.
Yeah, I think I was like that, I think, my whole life. Even
Yeah.
like when I was in like in elementary school, like everyone used to say like I was the quiet one. I'm like, yeah, I'm quiet because I'm like observing and judging all of you. But but I
I
was
feel like it's really relatable.
yeah. I don't know if that's an INFJ thing or something, but uh yeah, people used to call me quiet in middle school also. I remember one time my best friend is actually I met him in elementary school and we were in the same class in middle school and like he was getting in trouble by like our science teacher or something like that. And then he touched upon the topic of wanting to be partners with me for like a project and she was like, "Why do you want to be partners with Andrew?" And he was like, "Oh, because he's my best friend." And the teacher was like dead shock because like he was like not the class clown, but he is almost the polar opposite of me uh in terms of personality. And so like people to this day are like a little bit shocked that we're still friends because like we're still so opposites. I don't know how I got why am I saying this? What was the what were we talking about?
I don't, how aware you were
Oh yeah,
as a child.
okay, so yeah. I don't know how I got sidetracked like that. But yeah, in high school, still aware also in college. But I feel like it's um through my late years in college, like the awareness has been harder and harder to maintain because I feel like once you hit college, people start to grow increasingly more complex, and so it's kind of hard to decipher people like that. It's easier to do it in high school and middle school and elementary
Well, I
school.
think it's also easier in like I guess high school and before because you're seeing the same people
Yeah.
regularly.
Mhm.
Um, and also, I think it may be partly to do with you that I know for myself, and maybe you can relate to this. When I got into college, so before I used to be the same, I used to be really quiet and I would just observe people, and people would just come to me and talk to me typically. I mean, I would talk to some people, but I was very quiet. Um, but like in college, I really made an effort to be a lot more outgoing, and I kind of tried to just not like just sit around and watch people or just like even though I feel like I've always had a strong intuition, I didn't try to rely on, I mean, not rely on, I just didn't use that as like a crutch, if that makes sense. Um, I don't know. I don't know if that really made sense.
I think
By
it
the way, what type do you think your friend is?
oh, I ENFP, I think. Um,
INFP?
so I think so because I remember googling like INFJ and ENFP like friendships, and it was like all like the results were like this is why these two personalities are like the best friends or whatever. I was like, wow. Yeah, I remember reading a few articles like that. I was like, wow, that's pretty interesting. It was like kind of like puzzle pieces fitting perfectly together, something like that.
Yeah, I feel like it's just a natural friendship in general, ENFPs and INFJs. But so kind of talking about, because you did mention this earlier about music and stuff, and you talked about relationships and stuff. Um, have you been in many relationships?
No, I've been in one,
Okay.
and that's it. I briefly was with someone last year, but like I don't really count that because it was so brief. But um, relationships have always been something very like I am a person who doesn't like to waste their time, and I don't like wasting other people's time, especially. Um, so it's either kind of like how do I describe it? It like has to be something worthwhile, and if it's not, then why bother, kind of thing. Which is kind of hard. I feel like it makes dating harder because um, like I am so selective with who I want to spend my time with. Also, I feel like my personality, not just my personality type, but just who I am in general, is kind of hard to get along with me in that way. Like I would have to be speaking to someone very specific, like for a relationship to work. But yeah, it's always been something very difficult. But I mean, I don't really I don't spend too much time thinking about relationships because uh, I'm so focused on working on myself. And my mentality is, why would I want to be in a relationship when I'm not done working on myself yet? And you're never truly finished working on yourself. Like you're never 100% done. It's either like when you feel ready or something like that.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. I think that's I mean, I think there's a lot of wisdom in not getting into a relationship. Because I know from past experiences, you may think you want to be in a relationship and you may, I agree with like the specific thing. I know I'm a lot more specific than what I actually do. I think I kind of settle for less than what I truly feel like I want or need. Um, and that's not like bashing any of the guys I've dated. It's just been like the way it's been. Sorry about the train in the
Yeah,
background. I'm like super close to the train tracks.
really crazy. How do you sleep at night?
I can sleep really easily. I can fall asleep basically anywhere.
Wow, very lucky.
Yeah, so yeah. The only time I find myself not being able to sleep is if I have something really like draining on my mind, or sometimes on a plane if I don't have enough leg room.
Mm. Or if there's 10 crying babies on the same plane, that's always a
I mean, I can
through.
fall asleep through that.
Wow.
I slept at a so like when I lived in Georgia, I remember I was 14 and we used to have a hockey team called the Thrashers, and I fell asleep in the stands.
Wow.
At a Thrashers game, didn't.
That's crazy. I have this dog next door, my neighbor's dog, and just one bark can wake me up, and like it completely messes up. Like I wake up like an hour early because of that, just so I don't wake up from the dog. Like I'd rather wake myself up with an alarm than be woken up by a dog. Like, so yeah, I'm a very light sleeper, and I don't know. I feel like I have sleeping problems. I don't know. Like
Okay, speaking of dogs, oh my gosh, Henry, come here. Stop being annoying. Yeah, Henry always. Oh my gosh! Oh my gosh! He like almost hit stop broadcast. This little boy is gonna be the death of me one day. But yeah, no, I can relate to the barking thing. Oh, go ahead.
I saw a previous interview where your dog was jumping during the interview.
Yeah.
Wow. But back to the relationships thing. Yeah, I feel like my conclusion to that was trying. Well, the reason why I'm like in this mentality of wanting to better myself before I go into a relationship was because the failure of my first relationship, like, what happened?
He's literally peeing on the ground right now. He is like such a little rat face little poop. Like I just watched him lift his leg and pee on something.
That sucks.
Whatever. You're so I hate that. Okay. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead. That was very distracting.
Yeah, I just saw your face. You looked like so angry for a second. But what was I saying? Yeah, the end of my first relationship had me realize, like, oh my God, there's so much stuff that I need to work on myself because there were so many things harming, so many things about myself I feel like were harming the relationship, and that's just something. Those are things that I would rather not repeat again in my life, because why would I want that? So, yeah.
What do you think, so like ideally in the future, and not about relationships, but just about like kind of how you, like, what would your ideal self be like?
That is a tricky question. Being more comfortable with putting myself out there, that's for sure. Not in the sense of like being extroverted. I don't think I'll ever be an extroverted person because that's just not who I am. But like I get nervous for applying to play in like venues. I get nervous for asking like my friend to like, hey, do you want to record a song or something? Like little things like that. That's like I feel like putting myself out there shouldn't be. Why is that such a hard thing to do? That's something I want to get better at. Like I've been meaning to like apply to the venues in the city to go play, but I just haven't done it because why? Like why am I such a lazy piece of crap? Like that's like it's funny how I say that. Like that negativity is like a very that is actually one of the things I do want to work on about myself. Like I use negativity uh, to be more productive, which is I feel like that's like a horrible thing to do. Like if I'm like doing homework or something and I get something wrong, how much can I curse on here?
I mean, you obviously did not watch my interview last night with Jonas because I literally said fucking shit 50 times. So
I wanted to be very sure because I didn't want to like. Anyway, I don't want to be disrespectful for anything.
No,
but
you're not gonna be disrespectful. Let's just break down the walls and let's just cuss like sailors.
Okay, so like I'll be doing homework and like I'll get a question wrong and be like, oh, like I'm a fucking idiot, and like how could I not see that and shit like that? Like why use that negativity to like what does that do for me? Can't I just learn in a normal way? Do I have to like put myself down or something? Like why? I don't know. I forgot why.
I feel like that kind of the INFJ perfectionism.
Yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah, perfectionism is something that does haunt me, which ties into the wanting to better myself. I'm afraid that I don't know when I'll be ready because I'm always going to want to be perfect, and that's something I need to I need to work that out. That's just something that I don't know. That's something that needs to be worked out for sure.
I mean, I don't know about you. I kind of talked about this in the last interview as well, because there was a question about like YouTube specifically and just like putting yourself out there and being consistent and stuff. Like for me, actually, a way of kind of getting over perfectionism is by just, I mean, I don't know if you know this. I've said this a few times in different videos here and there, but I don't look at my videos after I've, well, even before I upload them. I just post them. And I know you can't really do that as much with music. Henry, Mom is going to be really mad at you. Come here. Henry, bad little demon, you little demon child. But like, I mean, that's just, I mean, obviously with music, there is like editing and stuff like that. But my point really, and I'm going to edit in the future on certain things because I want to be, you know, a little bit more artistic about things instead of just like slapping things out there. But the reason why I feel like that was so helpful for me and maybe helpful for you, and it doesn't have to be YouTube, is just like putting stuff out there that isn't perfect and knowing that, I mean, I said this before, but like oftentimes, like, I mean, it's really the angles that I do things, but like I have a double chin, or like, you know, I don't look the best, or I say something stupid. I think that's kind of made it easier for me to not give a shit, like, kind of,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah,
And maybe that would be helpful for you. Just kind of pushing yourself to not be perfect.
yeah. And I have tried that. It like you said, it is harder to get away with that with music, but um, there are times where like I record something and like I re-record it like a million times, and then I feel like I had the right recording, and then like I hear like a mistake in it, and then I just tell myself like, you know what, whatever. Like I'm too tired to like fix this. Like it gets to the point where I'm too tired to fix it, and like I want it done, and it's not in the perspective of, oh, just like whatever, it's not perfect. It's like I drive myself to the point of insanity when like I can't physically re-record something. And that's something that is very frustrating. But uh, like I released an album like in August, and every time like I re-listen to some of the songs, I'm like, oh, maybe I could have done this better. Maybe I could have fixed that there. But the reason why I kept it in was because like I would have never released the album if I just hadn't stopped myself from wanting to be perfect all the time. But yeah, you can listen. Oh, that by the way, that's on Spotify and Apple Music and stuff if you want to listen.
Yeah, so we're gonna link all of these links below,
Yeah,
so everybody can watch, and then the future viewers can listen and watch.
that'd be
Um,
cool.
what inspires you to write music, or like even make music? Or is there anything like super specific, or is it kind of general, or what is it?
Uh, it's kind of specific. It's specific in the way where a lot of the times my music comes from like a specific feeling, like how I'm specifically feeling in a on a certain day. Um, there's this weird type of like pensiveness, sadness kind of feeling I get like around like 11 o'clock or something like that. And like a lot of my songs were written like during late nights, um, and where like I'm like too tired to think too much, and like I just like um, play whatever first thing that comes to mind. Um, but that's like the music itself. But like in terms of lyrics, I try to be very general because I do write about um, anxiety and like depression, and I do pull inspiration from people in my life, but all those topics I try to make them general enough so that you know, if someone else hears it, they can relate to it. I wouldn't want to write something so specific where only a handful of people can relate to it. But um, yeah,
I think that's really neat. I don't know. I mean, I've written music before, but well, not like music, but like lyrics to things. Like I used to write when I was younger a lot. But that's interesting that what you draw your inspirations from, and I feel like that's a very extroverted feeling answer to not really want to specifically. I feel like introverted feelers would be more specific with what they want to, like, especially about their feelings, what they want to convey. Um, so, what are your plans after you graduate?
ooh. I've been asking myself that for like 10 years, but um, I've been applying to internships to go work in the city. I applied to this music publishing website for a data science internship. I applied to Chegg for a data science internship, but I took a data science class in the spring, and it was like the hardest class I've ever taken in my life. But I feel like every day I was learning something very fascinating, and like even though I was driving myself crazy almost every day, like I felt good about it. I have this weird characteristic where for some reason I like to drive myself crazy, like in terms of what I'm working on. If it's music, if it's math, computer science, like I'm always driving myself crazy, which is probably why I'm getting so many white hairs. But like,
I
um,
mean, you're 76. Like, I feel like that should be a thing.
Jesus Christ. But um, I feel like uh, the most frustrating part of all of that is the music aspect, because like I'm doing music so I can relax, and then it's very annoying or I'm driving myself crazy when I'm supposed to be having fun. Like like I'll be working on something for like 5 hours one day, and like at the end of the session I'll be like what am I doing? Like my eyes are literally red. I just want to lay down on the floor and not do anything. And yeah, I don't know why I do that, but oh well. That's just who I am.
Well, I get it. I feel like also the question of what are you going to do after college, I feel like is kind of like, I hate that question. So I
Yeah.
asked you.
Yeah, I remember I feel like that's a term of that not a term. That's a way of micromanaging. And I remember you talking about that in a previous video, how I think it was like top 5 or 10 things INFJs hate. And one of them was micromanaging. And like I had never realized that about myself before, because I hate micromanaging so much. And like I don't know why I never I think it's just like the word specifically. I never pinpointed it. But like I hate it when like I'll be sitting in class and like I ask a question and like a professor will be like, "Oh, you should study more." I'm like, literally, you don't know my life. And like it just gets me so angry. But yeah.
Yeah, no, I can definitely relate to that. My mom is an ISFP, and I mean, I love my mom, but she's also such a micromanager in a lot of ways, especially towards me because I feel like she thinks because her second function, like she's very strong with extroverted sensing, and I don't value like the things that she values in her function stack. At least I don't really value introverted feeling. Um, it just it or extroverted thinking, and it's just interesting how she interacts with me. I don't know how to describe it, but it is very micromanagey. And she's not like the worst micromanaging like type towards me, but yeah, I don't like that. That's like where we butt heads, I feel like a lot.
I feel like that's a common thing between parents and children and their children. Um, like I can't imagine a situation where like a child uh, takes micromanaging in a very positive way. I don't know. I think that I say that because like I hate it so much, or something. I don't know.
Some people, oh, Henry's about to bark. Henry, come here. Um, some people actually, I feel like, thrive off of micromanagement. Like they do best when they are micromanaged,
That's very interesting.
which I find very interesting. Certain types, certain personalities. Certain personalities really have to have someone tell them what to do. For me, like if you tell me once, I mean, maybe like a couple of times sometimes, but like if you tell me once, usually I'm gonna remember. And even if I don't do it right away,
Mm-hmm.
it's not that I don't like know about it. It's just that's not like on my priority right now
Yep.
or
Yep.
whatever.
Exactly. I feel the same exact way.
Yeah. The way my mom micromanages is it's like, I mean, I guess like again it might be like a parent thing, but she'll be like telling me to do something and I need to do it right this moment. It's like I don't even get 5 minutes to do whatever. It has to be at that moment or nothing. But also ISFPs, um, they and ISTPs, they both kind of don't like uncertainty in general. So I can understand that, like why, because my mom really gets upset when she feels like things are not certain. Um, but going off of like family members and stuff, do you have any siblings?
I do. One older brother. Uh, he's pretty cool. I feel like uh, I wouldn't be who I am without my brother. I wouldn't have my passion in music without him. Uh, the whole um, just the way I motivate myself is very inspired by my brother. But yeah, that's um, to answer things generally.
How
But
much older is he?
he is 5 years older, so he just turned 28, which I find
Oh,
crazy. Like 2 years away from 30. Like Jesus, almost
he's
a grandpa.
basically old. Yeah.
I have a cousin. He uh, ever since he turned 30, when he turned 30, I changed his contact on my phone to Grandpa Dennis. So now he's just a grandpa now. But yeah. But yeah, I view that cousin I mentioned. I view him as a almost like a brother. Also, we're very close. Yeah.
Do you know what personality types they have, or kind of like what you suspect they probably are?
Oh, I don't know. Like I I I remember I asked my brother like, hey, take this test, and like he just never did it. I was like, great, wonderful. But I can't imagine my brother being an INFJ. Um, but he's also not. I mean, we're very similar, but also very different. I remember my cousin called us like we were like yin and yang because we have like very similar opinions about the world, but the way we approach the world is very different. I would say he is more extroverted than I am, but also like in a sense, he's also introverted in a way where um, he has like strong opinions about people, and like that could allow him to not spend as much time with specific people. I mean, that's just from what I observed. Maybe if I like asked him that, like he would deny it. But he's always been more extroverted in the sense of like not really thinking about going out, doing things at night or whatever. Um, like going to bars or clubs or like hanging out with people at night or just in general. That's something that I never really liked doing. I hate going to clubs. I don't like dancing. That's something I just don't like. Like I don't know why. It's just I feel it like because I have a very as much as I love music, I have a very picky taste in music, which I really hate about myself. I wish I loved all types of music, but I don't. And I don't like I don't like poppy music, like really pop music that you would dance to at a club. Like that's not something I like to listen to. So I'm not gonna dance to something I don't like. That's just like my mentality. But like when I go to a concert to see like a band that I really like, I dance there. Yeah.
So you do like to dance,
Uh,
but you just don't like
yeah.
the music. You're not going to be dancing to Ariana Grande or
Yeah,
something.
I'm not gonna dance to Katy Perry or something. Um,
Yeah.
I'm not trying to say that. they're shitty musicians. Like, that's not what I'm trying to say, but everyone has their own taste in music, and I'd rather not. I'd rather listen to what I like to listen to.
I can respect that.
Yeah.
How would you describe your sound or like your style for
Um,
you, like, personally?
sorry that this keeps going back to music. Sorry,
That's
like,
no.
yeah.
I love music.
So my sound is uh, it's very introverted, which is funny. It's like introverted in the sense like, um, well, I feel like in life in general, outside of music, like we mentioned earlier, like we spend a lot of time observing the outside world and not really speaking to other people. Or, and so I feel like that's how my music um, relates to that because it's like forming um, not opinions. It's forming like thoughts about.
Oh my gosh, shut up, you little dog.
It's
Okay,
like forming viewpoints of what I've seen like throughout the day, and so that goes into my songs. But it's very mellow. It's not so dark. I don't think it's that dark, but it's like my music admires um, a lot about what people feel. Um, it's very hard to describe. It's just like in terms of genre, it's like acoustic singer-songwriter, but
okay.
just from what I'm trying to explain, it's just um, things that I it's just how I interpret the world in terms of music. And you can literally say that about any genre, but oh well. That's my answer for that.
Well, I tend to like kind of singer-songwriter. I also really like indie or alternative music in
Yeah.
general.
Hmm.
I think that's what I mostly listen to.
What do
But I
you
also, what was that?
Who
For
specifically do you listen to?
so some of my favorite artists are like, I don't know if you've ever heard of Rainbow Kitten Surprise.
That's a hell of a name though.
I think they're great. You should look them up.
Rainbow Can Surprise. I'm gonna write this down.
Yeah, Rainbow Kitten Surprise.
I love it already.
Um,
Rainbow Can
I love them. I love like there's a band called Wild Bell, Sylvan Esso. I like Milky Chance. I mean, I even like Jack Johnson and stuff like
I've
that.
heard
Like,
that Johnson.
yeah,
Yeah.
like, I mean, there's a lot more, but yeah. What about you?
Um, so this is my whole taste in music comes from like my brother. He basically raised me like in terms of music. So my favorite band is Radiohead, and then my second favorite band is Thrice. And then from there, Elliott Smith is another favorite of mine. People say I sound like him, and like um, it's understandable because I was always self-conscious about how I sounded in terms of singing because I never thought I was a good singer. And then when I started listening to Elliott Smith, I was like, oh hey, like he's not the greatest singer in the world, but like he's singing anyway because like fuck it. And I was like, wow, that's like I'm gonna sing now. So I started singing because of him. And who else? Grizzly Bear, St.
Oh, I
Vincent.
love Grizzly Bear.
Yeah, they're so good. I saw them last year in Brooklyn. They were so amazing.
Oh my gosh.
What?
That's no, I would love to see them.
Oh, you
Do you
haven't
like
seen
going
them?
there?
Oh my. Oh yeah, I love Bon Iver. I always wanted to see him. I remember he played 4 or 5 shows in New York, like in a row. But I didn't
Wow.
buy tickets because they were just way too expensive. Damn. But
I'm going to, do you know the music festival Bonnaroo?
yeah, I do. Yeah.
Have you? I'm going to that in June.
Oh
It's
no.
in Tennessee. I'm gonna go with my friends. It's like pretty expensive right now. Well, they have like pre-sale tickets right now. I think the actual tickets drop in January. But I think it's like around $300. But it's like a few days. It's like Thursday through Sunday, and there's over 150 artists performing.
That's a lot of music.
Yeah, but Bon Iver was there last year, so I'm hoping that like some really good people come this year. Also, Eminem and like some really big people were there as well, and Sylvan Esso, which is one of my favorites. But yeah.
I went to a music festival for the first time in the beginning of the summer. I went to the Boston Calling, obviously in Boston. But like I was not prepared for how much I was gonna stand that day. And I already had foot problems, so like standing for like an hour is already painful, and I stood for like 10 hours that day, or maybe
Wow.
like 12 or something. But yeah, there were so many good musicians there. There were like Brockhampton, Jack White headlined, Queens of the Stone Age was there. Yeah, Jack White was amazing. His latest album is I love it so much. Um, who else was there? Manchester Orchestra. Um, yeah, I'm blanking out. Who else I saw? Yeah, I don't know. I forgot. But
Well, you have been to more music festivals than me. This will be my first one,
oh,
unless I go
yeah.
to one before that. So yeah,
Coachella is
I
another
heard.
crazy
What?
one.
What was that?
Coachella is another crazy.
Oh yeah, no, I really want to go to Coachella at some point. But Bonnaroo is pretty cool because like I don't know about Coachella. Do you camp at Coachella? Or I thought
I
it's like you
don't
just
know.
come every day.
I think that you come every day. I'm not sure.
Yeah. With Bonnaroo, you actually camp there.
Oh
And I've
wow.
also never been camping, so
Oh, camping is the best, but
I know, and I've never had anybody to go with, and it's so sad.
I I used to go camping with a family friend of mine, and like we usually just go like either a little upstate or like in Long Island, but those are pretty fun trips. It's like so peaceful, especially there's this one camping trip we went to. There was like a beach there, and like we went to the beach like at 3 a.m. or something like that. It was just like amazing, just listening to the ocean, just looking at the stars. Like you can't ask for more peace. That it's like the most peace you can get, unless
Yeah.
you get like, attacked by a bear or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would just make it more peaceful. I'm just kidding, because
What?
then you die. I'm just joking.
What?
um,
Yeah. I that's funny that you say that because I have a very dark sense of humor. So whenever I meet a new person like you, I kind of refrain that dark sense of humor a little bit because I joke about dying all the time, like so much. But I try not to joke about it too much because like now all my friends think I'm like suicidal or something. But
well, I mean, it's a touchy subject, and I feel like especially people our age, like kind of millennials or like the
yeah.
new generation, can be people get triggered. I mean,
Oh yeah, yeah, that's for sure. That
yeah,
I mean, well, one reason that is one reason why like I don't want to joke like that anymore is because like I mean I am depressed, and so like I don't want someone else who actually like I'm depressed but not suicidal. So I don't want someone who is depressed and suicidal to be like to think it's okay to just kill themselves. Like that's
yeah,
like I don't want to normalize killing yourself because that sucks. Like when I found out the lead singer of Linkin Park killed himself, I remember I found out in the middle of class, and like Linkin Park was like the first band I fell in love with when I was like 5 years old. And then when I found out he died because of suicide, like I literally just couldn't hear anything. I was just like reading the article and like everything went silent. I was like, God damn it. It sucks. But
yeah. No, it's crazy. Um, I mean, I've definitely had. I had a video up that I privated where I talked about depression and stuff, and I actually have had suicidal thoughts before.
mhm.
And I mean, I think what I get back to, but like I understand that it's not always easy for everybody to do this. It wasn't easy for me either. But I just thought about like the people that I would be affecting if I was to do that, even though like maybe in the moment it seems like well it wasn't just a moment, it was for a pretty big, I mean a significant period of time. a couple of months where I really felt like really numb and stuff. But it's like even though I may have felt numb and like nothing was meaningful, the people in my life, I know there's people in my life that love me and that would miss me if I was to do that.
Hmm.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it.
Um, but that being said, like not to be offensive to anybody, like obviously we don't mean it in a bad way, but like I do joke, like for example, at the beach, if someone's like, "Oh, watch out for sharks," I would be like, "Oh, well, I mean, if I get bitten by if I get killed by a shark, that's a cool way to die." At least.
Wow, that's really dark. Jesus Christ.
but but no, I mean, it's all obviously a joke, but
Yeah.
so what would you say is like the weirdest moment you've ever had?
My whole life.
Yeah. Or could it
Um,
be a few moments?
um, it all started when I was born. Oh, I don't know. That is the weirdest thing that ever happened to me. Oh, well, it's not the weirdest thing that ever happened to me, but it is like, uh, it's the most recent weird thing that happened to me. Um, I got like a text from a number I didn't know, and it was like, uh, it like the message said like, "Hey, I just wanted to let you know, like, go fuck yourself." I was like, "What the hell?" And I kept reading. It was like a really long message, and I kept reading it, and it was like, "You bailed on me like twice in 1 week, and like I checked your Instagram following. All you follow is like girls, and you're full of shit." I was like, "What am I reading here?" It was really, really weird. I was like, I asked who it was. No, I was like, I think you got the wrong number, and they were like, "Oh, that's embarrassing." But I for a moment I really was scared because I was like, "Holy shit! Like, is this some? Did I hurt someone I didn't mean to hurt or whatever?" But thank God it was the wrong number. But uh, another weird thing, um, I remember I was at a Blink 182 concert, and um, like the opening band finished playing, and so me and my cousin we leave the stadium to go get beer, or we leave like the I forget what you call where the band is playing. We leave that area to go get some beer or something, and there's like a long line, and like I feel someone tap my shoulder, and they're like, "Hey, I like your shirt," and I look down to see my shirt, and it's just like a plain shirt. I thought I had a design on my shirt, but I didn't. It was just a plain shirt, and I look at her. I'm like, "Thanks, it's green."
Oh my gosh, what the heck? That's so random.
And so there was there was like a pause for a second, and like in my head I was like, "Oh, like she must know my cousin or something. Like why else would she be saying hi to me?" And so I was like, "Do you know my cousin?" And he's like, "No, I don't know her." And um and then another awkward pause, and then she was like, "So who are you here to go see?" And I'm like, the headlining band."
Henry, you're ruining this.
And
It
so
sounds to me that she liked you.
yeah, and all of that went over my head. And so like we part me and the girl part ways, and now I'm standing on the line. I'm going back to sit with my cousin, like where our seats were. And my cousin was like, "Dude, that girl's hitting on you." I'm like, "What? Oh, that was weird." And like I paid no attention to it, but that was just something really funny that happened. Like I don't know how something can go over my head like that badly, but I don't know.
I can relate. I feel like I can be either really aware or really oblivious. There's not really an in between with me.
Like what?
Like, I mean, just in general. So like, for example, if I'm in a room of people, I've talked about this before, but like, I'll go into a room, especially like when I went to college, I would go to class and I would go to class every, like, whatever, however often, like once a week, twice a week, whatever the class was. And, um, oh my gosh, Henry, seriously, stop. I would, stop. There's people outside, so he's being really obnoxious. So I would go into the classroom and I would see, like, I would only see maybe a handful of people, and I just would completely miss everybody else, like not even see them, and I wouldn't see them the whole year, unless it was like pinpointed on someone, like, and it wasn't always this way, but that was a typical thing for me. I don't know if you can relate to that.
Not really, but I don't know. I mean, I'm still trying to think. I feel like the story I just told you wasn't that weird, but I don't know. I don't really have that many weird um, things, and maybe I do, and like I'm so embarrassed by them that like I subconsciously blocked out the memory. I feel like that's what happened.
I feel like you do, and you're just holding back for us.
I'm really trying to think though. Um, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I feel like we'll have to come back to this. I'll think about it.
Um, so how do you think, um, how do you think your opinion on, like, this is kind of random. I mean, it's about like the US. How do you think your opinion of the US has changed over the years? And not even just like super specifically, but like, or maybe not even just the US, but like growing up in a certain place. It kind of reminds me of yesterday I was talking to Jonas, and he's Swedish. And I asked him how was it growing up in Sweden, and he had a hard time like kind of pinpointing at
Yeah,
first
I
how it
remember that.
was.
Mhm.
Do you kind of have an idea of what it was like growing up here, and maybe what you've become aware of that you didn't know when you were younger about where you grew up?
Well, um, I feel like as I grow older, I increasingly become more disappointed by the U.S. Um, I remember I started to be politically aware around junior year of high school, which is I feel like that's pretty late. I feel like people should be politically aware much earlier. Um, but I remember when I found out that women aren't paid equally as men, I was like, what? Why? Like I didn't know that was a thing, and then when I found out, I was like, why is that a thing? And I was just dumbfounded. Like to this day, I'm like dumbfounded. Like why is it taking so long for equal pay to be for that to be real? But um, another thing that I hated in when I was in high school, like I hated how homophobia was a thing. I thought that was something that like triggered me so much. Like because I imagine like what if I was gay? Like what if someone was making fun of me because of my sexuality, or like a group of people were doing that? Like I would probably be so angry at the world, but also probably so immensely depressed out of my mind. Like how could you do that to someone? That's like such a horrible thing to do. And I mean, I'm so glad that um times are getting better in terms of that, but there's still some places where people are very homophobic, and I feel like that's very stupid. um I feel like any type of hatred is very stupid. um Yeah, which is a reason why, like, I try not to pay too much attention to politics because I feel like a lot of it will just get me angry, and I feel like the day that matters the most is election day, and, like, I'll keep myself at arm's distance enough to not get so angry all the time, but also be a little aware of what's happening with the world, and then when the time comes, like, I'll vote for what I believe is right and what'll help humankind in the future, but, um, like, another thing I think the thing that drives me the most crazy is, uh, how our current political climate is kinda disregarding, climate change, and we're not taking care of the planet. Just, like, why? Ever since I was a kid, I was like, why is it so hard to take care of the planet? Like, I don't get it. Um, I don't know. That's something that really pisses me off that I try not to think about too much because that's why I always say actually, why I feel like humankind is, like, destined to end pretty soon because just look at the way humans treat the planet, it's just not good, and so I feel like we're soon to be extinct. It's very bleak, but that's my opinion of how, like, that's I feel like that's how yeah, how I view the country right now. Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's definitely understandable. I feel like there are a lot of polarizing things in the US specifically. I mean, just in general, we are such a, I mean, it's not like we're a country that kind of can hide away. It's like we put ourselves out there and we're supposed to be like representing the world, or like we say that we represent the world's values and we are like, I mean, leaders in the United Nations and stuff like that. But at the same time, there's a lot of messed up things that happen in the US. I think any country, and as far as like climate change goes, I agree with that. But it's also hard, like, because we can't control other countries and their pollution. Like
Mhm.
there's a lot of countries that don't have the kind of, I mean, when we put certain standards on things, there's certain countries that don't have these standards, and it's hard. But yeah, it is baffling to think about not only the U.S. but just in general how people don't realize. I mean, they just don't care. It's like, well, it's not affecting me. Like, who
Mhm.
cares? Like, they're not thinking about the future. It's weird.
Well, I mean, I said that specifically towards the US because, like, the US has the ability to help the planet, but, I feel like a lot of the times the US doesn't. I mean, in these past 2 years specifically,
Yeah.
because our president doesn't believe in climate change, and I feel like that gives me a headache. Like, God, man, I feel like that drives me crazy. Um, but yeah, I don't wanna get
Yeah.
too into it because I'm just gonna get
Oh no, I
really
agree.
negative
I
really
agree. And
quiet.
not everybody's going to like, agree with us
Yeah.
either.
I mean,
Um,
well,
but yeah. I don't think our president necessarily says and believes the same things. Like basically I don't think he
yeah,
says everything that, I mean, he doesn't believe everything he says.
yeah, that is a good point to bring up.
So I don't know. I mean, in a way, like I'm not saying trying to you know, mm, I don't know, I mean, kind of downplay it, but in a way, we do have kind of a figurehead in many respects because there's a lot of behind the scenes things. But yeah, I guess we'll get past that. What I mean, this kind of goes in with that, but not. We don't have to be like politically minded in this sense. But I mean, if you want to talk about that, you can. But what would be something that you personally think could that you could do to positively impact the world, or at least even locally?
Um, well, I mean, I would want to somehow contribute to, um, there's this band I listened to, um, and I remember the lead vocalist started like this, it wasn't like a fund or something, it was like an organization. I think he started it, or he was working with that organization, but this organization was actually the vocalist was saying how, um, sorry, I'm getting my words mixed up here. I'm trying to like form the
That's
sentence,
okay.
but the idea was that you don't have to be depressed to be creative. And I feel like that's something very important because me myself, like I rely on depression to be creative, and I wish that wasn't a thing. And I wonder to myself, like, how many people suffer from that very thing. I would like to somehow um, make that. I don't know. I would want to like make people feel it's okay to acknowledge the fact that they are depressed, and it's nothing to be ashamed of. But um, to better yourself is always the best thing. Wow, that is the most amazing looking cat I've ever seen.
Yep, little Flares.
Wow.
Yeah, Flare's a pretty girl.
Oh my God.
Yeah, she has like I don't know if you can tell. Oh, Henry, seriously. Henry's such a little hoard. He always wants to be like the center of attention. But like Flare has Henry, are you joking? Stop. You were such a little ratty. She has like you can't really tell too much, but it's like a brownie
Yeah.
gray white. And then she has like white down here. But yes, she's a Valor. Very sweet. I'm gonna have her as my scarf. But
Perfect.
yeah. But yeah, keep on going.
I think I finished.
Okay.
Yeah.
Um, that's interesting that you say that you feel like that is an issue. Ow. She was stepping on my hair. Anyways, as far as like depression and feeling creative and stuff like that, I think there are a lot of people that can relate to that. And I think that a lot of people do feel inspired after. He sounds like a squeak toy. Yeah, obviously, I mean, for anybody that's watching, you guys know that that these interviews are not professional in any way. But I kind of like it that way.
Yep.
Anyways, yeah, I think yeah, it is very volatile to romanticize mental illness, like Samantha said in the comments right there. But also, I get why people do that, because I think at certain times in sadness and depression, you do feel some really intense emotions, or maybe the numbness and stuff, and that kind of brings up, creativity. But realizing those things, it's like it is. I mean, obviously that's a lie in the sense that you can be creative without those things. You don't have to be depressed. You don't have to use mental illness as a way of expressing yourself. I think it's just like you have to, it's a journey, and it's in some ways it's harder to not, rely on those things, because you have to be very selective and proactive about like really coming up with ideas. But yeah. I don't know what the answer is, but yeah.
Me neither.
Um,
I wish I just
so
knew all things at all times.
yeah,
But,
just
yeah.
just make life happen. I love how Fleur's just like in the background now.
So elegant.
She looks like little statues. They're like little girls. Okay, so let me actually look at the chat because I feel like
I'm actually
there's
looking at the chat right now for the first
yeah.
time.
Are there any questions that you see? That's interesting. Cedric said that depressed people have been found to score higher on IQ tests.
Ah,
That
that's
is very
interesting.
interesting. And I wonder if that's true. I mean, I know what my IQ is, but I wonder if there really is that correlation. I don't know.
I saw, I think Jonas said, he's the awakened INFJ, right?
Yes.
Yeah, Jonas said, oh, I just saw it. Where is it? He commented on feeling the same way when Chester died. Right here. He was like, I was somewhat numb, dropped a handful of tears, reminiscing. So much sadness that goes on with these things. Yeah,
Yeah,
I
that's
totally
crazy.
agree. Have you heard of the movie First Reformed?
No,
Angela Delgado just recommended it to me. I'm gonna write it down.
I've never heard of that.
First Reformed. Or First Reformed then. I don't know. First Reformed. Yeah, definitely romanticizing mental illness. That's something I remember I caught myself romanticizing mental illness a few years ago. I was like, wait a second, like I definitely should not do that.
Yeah.
Where did you take your IQ?
So I actually paid for a test.
Ah,
So
I'm scared I might get like an IQ of 2.
I mean, I actually was surprised because I mean, I'm probably going to make a video about this. Because I was very quiet and anxious. I mean, I'm not going to because I don't really want to talk about my IQ. Because it's higher than what people have said in the comments of what certain people have said in the comments. I've not seen.
Well, you don't have to say the specific number.
Yeah, but I kind of was always told. I mean, not told, but I always felt like I thought I was stupid. I thought I was incompetent because I was held back. I was held back in first grade. And I didn't know until I was in high school why I was held back. I just thought that like they thought I was stupid, so they held me back. And so I felt really insecure about that. Like even though my birthday's in July and like the cutoff for I don't know how it is in New York. What is the cutoff for like how old you are to start school?
I don't know. I never thought about it. What do you mean by cutoff? Like, what are you talking about?
Like September 1st, or like you have to be 5 at a certain age.
Oh, I have no idea. I think I think you have to be 5 at September. I mean, that would make sense, but I
think for most places in the US it's September 1st. So like my birthday's in July, so I was always like the youngest person. I mean, like if I wasn't held back. And I found out later that people like they kind of just offered it to everybody that was born in the summer. They would just be like, well, we think because she's the youngest or he's the youngest and the smallest and stuff, we feel that they would be better suited. They would be more mature if they, you know, were held back. And I just didn't I didn't know that at that age. I didn't know why, because they tried to hold my sister back too because her birthday's in August. But my parents like caught on at that point that it really wasn't maybe as beneficial. That being said, I'm glad, but I always had kind of a weird complex when I was younger about if people thought I was stupid. I knew I wasn't stupid, but I always felt like people thought I was stupid because I was held back.
Yeah, I feel like that's always like an easy way. I feel like kids when I was growing up were like it was easy for them to be harsh. So like making fun of someone for being left back was always like a go-to, make fun of them kind of thing. So that I feel like that could really ruin a person's self-esteem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you were an animal, what animal would you be?
Oh man, I immediately thought of that one scene in Napoleon Dynamite where he names like an animal that's like 5 animals in one. But probably a fox.
That's so weird. That's what I would be.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's really
That's
funny.
really weird. Have
Fox
you like
are
looked up
what?
Siberian foxes?
A Siberian fox? I'll look it up right now.
Oh my gosh, you have to look this up. They have they like domesticated foxes. And supposedly these
Wait,
foxes are really pretty and they
I
act
might have
like
seen
golden
this before.
retrievers.
What
What were you
the?
saying?
No, I said I might have seen this before. Siberian. These are domesticated animals?
They made so in Siberia they had like this thing, I don't remember specifically, but I remember they did, it was like generations of foxes and they basically domesticated them, and it did modify how they looked and their appearance, and also they're able to I mean, they basically acted like dogs, they acted like golden retrievers. So it's interesting. I think I would love to have a pet fox.
It reminds me of what's that dog? Have you seen the Doge meme?
Yeah.
Yeah, isn't that like part fox or something? I could be 1,000% wrong on that,
No,
but
I can't think of what those are. Why can't I think? Shiba.
I don't.
I think those are
That's the
Shiba
name.
dogs.
Shiba dogs. Okay, I'll believe you.
Maybe I'm wrong about that. I don't know.
Yeah,
But
but
I know what you're talking about. They're really cute.
yeah, my brother and his girlfriend might get one, and we'll see if that happens. But I don't know.
um, what are you excited for in 2019?
Avengers 4. Yeah.
Wow. That's
I got
so
nothing
like
else going on in my life, man. But I'm excited for the next phase of my life because I'm almost done with this phase of my life, which is college, and it's it's scary and exciting at the same time to see where my life is going to go in the next year. Because I feel like I've done so much growing up in the past 2 years. It's time to apply this growing up to the real world next year. So we'll see.
Are you afraid?
Um, but yeah, I don't know. I don't really think about looking too forward in time. I kind of take things on a day by day basis, because I got into the habit of not hoping for things. That sounds very bleak, but like I do that in the sense in so that I won't be let down so easily, which sounds very negative. Like, oh, look at this fucking negative guy. But um, I remember when I was a teenager, I was very I had expectations of like for things to happen, and then they didn't happen, and then I was like, that just led to a lot of negative feelings, and I'd rather like, why think that way? It's not healthy, I feel like.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree. I think, I mean, I think it is good to look like forward to certain things. Like, are there any places you want to travel, or
Hmm.
like if you could travel anywhere right now, where would you go?
Hawaii. I've never been there. I've also never been anywhere outside the tri-state area and Paraguay. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm very closed in because my parents are always working and they're um it's very hard for them to find time off. But this coming winter we might go somewhere for the first time in a long time. Last time we went somewhere was Paraguay a few years ago. I think it was 2016. It was turning 2016. I think somewhere around that time. And then before that, in 2012, we went to Paraguay. And then before that, like 15 years before that, we went to Paraguay. As you can tell, I am Paraguayan.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna
Yeah.
say.
But um, yeah, I would really love to see Hawaii. I would love to go to Amsterdam. I want to go to Colorado. Um, I want to go to San Diego. I want to go to a lot of places. Um, my brother went to Miami recently, and I was so jealous. Like, oh God, I want to go there so bad. Just want to see like a very beautiful beach.
I
And
can see in the background.
huh?
In the background,
What back?
like you have, there's like paintings or
Yeah,
print.
I always forget those are there. But um, oh, Portland. Yeah, I want to go to Portland too. I just saw in the comments.
I've been to both Portland and Colorado.
Which one do you like more?
Well, I mean, I'm more of a Portland person, but I mean, Colorado is really cool for skiing. I snowboarded in Colorado like when I was younger. But
Awesome.
um but yeah, I really like Portland, but uh yeah, you should definitely do it. Like what's stopping you? You should just travel. You should just like
Money
go somewhere.
is stopping me, but
Well, yeah, true.
yeah. um, yeah. Uh, I mean, I can't wait to get a job and like start being financially independent a little bit because I don't really like mooching off my parents. Um, I hate feeling guilty for that um, because my parents work so hard and like I'm so close to like starting to work and I don't know, I just can't help but feel a little guilty over that. But
I can understand that.
it could be worse. I could be like 45 years old and still be living with my parents, mooching
I
off.
mean, you did say you're 76, so
My-
I'm just kidding. I'm not gonna let that down. But yeah, I mean, at 23, I mean, I can understand that. Like I mean, it wasn't that long ago. I was 23.
Years
So yeah, 2 years ago I was 23. It's like, yeah, it's like it's a transformative life. I mean, part of your life, and yeah, I can understand feeling like you're mooching off your parents and like feeling guilty, stuff like that. But things will get better. I feel like I mean, you're gonna be probably nostalgic about college, but I really do like being in the real world. I think I like that independence in some ways too. So,
Mhm.
but yeah, if you go to Amsterdam, um, just be careful where you stay. I mean, it just depends on what kind of time you're looking for. If you're looking to if you're looking to go to like the Anne Frank house and like museums, I don't even know why I can't say that, or just like kind of see the beautiful areas of Amsterdam, there's definitely an area you want to stay in. And then if you want to see the red light district and you want to see some women in the window and like just be careful. I mean, basically, I don't know about you, but I would stay in the nicer area. And if you want to go to the red light district, do that. Don't be like me and accidentally book a hostel in the red light district and not know that I was booking a hostel in the red light district. That's definitely not something that I would advise if that's not really your cup of tea. But
I'll try to take care of myself when I go to Amsterdam.
yeah, it's fun though. It's really pretty. I love Amsterdam. The Netherlands in general are really nice. It's really nice. Yeah, I've never been to Hawaii either. Do you think so? You navigate. I mean, you gravitate. Why did I say navigate? You gravitate towards more beach-like climates, or those are the climates that you're more.
Yeah,
I guess.
I would say yes because I don't really like the winter. Because there's like you wake up like on the weekend you wake up like at 9 o'clock and then you have like 3 hours of daylight and then it's nighttime for the rest of the day. I hate how short the days are. I could just wake up earlier, but I don't like the cold. I love to go running and like I don't like to run when it's cold because I like running outside. So that's why I love the hot weather so much because I could just run outside for as much as I want. Um, yeah, like during the winter, I just feel like I'm locked up all the time, and I hate that feeling so much.
Yeah, I don't like the winter really
I mean,
either. I feel like it just becomes depressing.
yeah, yeah, but I like the holidays though. Like those are
Me too.
so worth it though. Thanksgiving, Christmas,
Um,
New Year's.
what's your favorite holiday experience that you've had? Like, what's a memory that you have of maybe Christmas or other holidays that really stands out to you that you cherish?
Um, well, I feel like I just cherish every Thanksgiving and Christmas, um, because I have such a large family, and so I feel like I see family members almost every year. And I feel like that's always a special time. Um, and then Thanksgiving, these past few years, especially. Oh shit! I almost dropped my laptop. Thanksgiving, especially these past few years, like I would celebrate with like my immediate family, and then celebrate with like another, like with my cousins or whatever, and then go to my cousin's house and celebrate with their friends for a Friendsgiving. So like I have 3 Thanksgivings in one weekend. So yeah, what was Thanksgiving like last week? Yeah, I ate like such a maniac, and I didn't even gain 1 pound, and I'm so pissed about that because I just can't gain weight for the life of me. It's like the hardest thing
Really?
in the world. But yeah, mostly every Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Woohoo to you. I feel like there's gonna be so many people that are like, oh, you can't gain a pound. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I can understand that.
Yeah.
Feel like it seems to be drawing to a close as far as this interview goes, but maybe we should look at the chat and see if anybody has any pressing questions, or if you have any questions.
Let's see.
Go ahead. I'm
Question specifically about anything?
whatever. I
Hmm.
mean, yeah.
Winter is great for running. I do agree with Michelle on that because the winter is definitely when I get the most amount of music written. Um, I remember last year I wrote, it took me like 2 months to write this one song. But the idea of the song was already like 3 years old, and I just never really tackled it until last winter. And so, yeah, it is actually my favorite song that I wrote. Um, so yeah, winter is good. It's a good season for writing.
There's so many like comments in this. It's hard to.
Yeah, there's a lot. Holy crap.
Yeah. And it only lets you go back so far unless you like rewind the
Really?
video.
All the way back to the beginning.
So it does, like the chat does go back to the beginning, but you have to, I mean, at a certain point when there's too many like chats in there, you have to go back to like, you can, like if I started it, I'll just do it right now, clicking back some of the first comments. Yeah. Yeah, I don't really know. I don't really have any super pressing questions. Oh, okay. So they want to hear you sing, but you don't have to do that.
Honey, would you wait? Who says that? I would love to hear you sing a song, Andrew. Would you do that for us? If Pucokie wants me to.
I mean, you can definitely can.
Oh, I'm already getting nervous. What do you want to hear?
Let's see what they want to hear. Yeah.
Michelle, what do you want to hear?
It's like a little lagged, so they don't.
Oh yeah, I noticed. I'll play one song if you
Oh,
got.
the song. She said that song that took you 2 months.
Okay, all right. I'm gonna. How am I gonna do this? All right, I'll try to. It's gonna take a while to tune. Just give me 1 second.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's in a different tuning. I think I tuned this up. Yeah.
Henry's like looking at me like.
Why? Because of the sound?
Yeah.
Like, what is that?
He's like, I don't like this. Or not, maybe not like that, but I know that he heard guitar. He heard someone play guitar a little while ago, and he did not. He was like, "What is this mess?"
Does it sound like all right from the other end?
Yeah, you can hear it loud and clear. So
Cool, awesome. All right, here we go. I'm so nervous right now. But here we go.
you don't have to if you don't want to. So
No, I'll do it.
okay, I'm gonna mute my volume just so Henry's shenanigans doesn't get in the way.
Okay. Here we go. It's called Lone Flower, and I hope you like it. I'm a sigh, you can't wait to breathe out. I'm the lost time you will want back. So loosen your grip or bite down on your lip. 'Cause something's keeping us standing on unknown ground. How'd you learn what you know from someone who questions growth? You're a mess when you're standing over there, like a lone flower on a wall. tighten your fist and grit your teeth again. 'Cause something's gonna crash, something's gonna come to an end. How do you know where to be when there's nothing to see? You're the darkness when I shut my eyes in the night. You were always the hope that once was lost.
Wow, that was awesome. I could have like listened to you play for like another hour or so. That was really neat. That was a really good experience.
Thank you so much. I almost got a heart attack, but
it's okay. No, I could tell that you were a little bit nervous, but it's hard. I mean, I was put on the spot to sing. I know that I did a lot worse than you, like being put on the spot. But yeah, I think that's awesome.
Thank you.
You're very talented.
Thank you so much.
You can sing. What the fuck are you talking about?
Stop. I just saw the Jessico asked, anyone know what artist Andrew mentions that he likes? I listen to Radiohead, Elliott Smith, Grizzly Bear, Thrice, St. Vincent. Recently, Phoebe Bridgers, Julian Baker, and Lucy Dacus are all amazing. I highly recommend to listen to them. Their music will bring you to tears because it's so sad but sweet at the same time. But yeah.
Well, I definitely think that people should subscribe to your channel. I'm gonna subscribe to your channel, of course.
Thanks.
But yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I can just see you like performing in front of like a large audience, and it just kind of gives me chills. Like I feel like maybe one day we're talking to a future famous person, or you know, but it's crazy. I feel like it's so crazy how much potential people have, and you have to just be able to use it.
I 100% agree.
But
I'm so glad that you liked it. That means a lot, really.
Well, if it says anything, your like sound or style, that's like what I mean, I really like that. Like that is what I will more naturally listen to in general. So I think it's pretty cool. So
yeah. I mean, I tend to like music that pays more attention to feelings that really matter. I feel like sadness is something that should be recognized more, and a lot of music does recognize it. So that's why I listen to that stuff. But yeah.
Well, I think that is a pretty good ending, but like if you see any other questions, or if anybody has any more questions now, or again, if you want to ask me anything, you are free to do so. I think we should let people come in with their questions if they have any. But
I saw someone mention Fleet Foxes. Yes, I totally agree with that. But
I like Fleet Foxes.
I wanted to ask you. I noticed like you're like putting out videos like crazy now. Like that's something I really admire. Where do you, how do you not run out of ideas to talk about?
I mean, that is a good question. I feel like that's a relevant question. I think I get inspired by a lot of different things. Mostly stuff about like typology, but like lately I haven't been making so many typology videos. Like I have a ton of ideas about typology, but what I do is I just write down anytime I have an idea, I just write it down and I try to keep it together, or at least pull it together. Like even if it's like random notepads, or like, I don't know, on a receipt, wherever it is, like I'll write down and just like keep it together, or like, I don't know. Also, I read and listen to a lot of stuff. So I think, and I also watch a variety of different like things on YouTube in general. Like I enjoy watching, for example, which they're kind of a polarizing YouTube channel right now, but I like H3H3.
I love H3.
Yeah, but yeah, they're kind of controversial right now.
They are controversial. Like it really sucks that that's happening. But Joe Rogan, do you listen to him?
I actually don't, but I know that he has a really good podcast. I probably should. But like I listen to like, so I like watch like H3H3, and I watch like family vlogs, like just random family vloggers that I've been watching for years. I watch like Ed Bassmaster, like or then I watch, like I've mentioned this before, Evan Carmichael, or just like a variety of different things. What?
I said I'm gonna search all these people that you're mentioning.
Yeah, I mean, I am big on, I mean, not big on YouTube in the sense I don't have a lot of subscribers, but I'm big on like, I love YouTube. Like I just have a passion for that kind of thing. But no, I've just had so many ideas, and I think, I mean, I get inspired by different things. And I think it's always good to have a variety of things that you're interested in. I think some of the best advice I've ever received is just to be interesting, and not in a, oh, I'm just trying to be like mysterious and interesting, but just like be well-rounded, be like, you know, explore different areas, explore things you never thought that you would like or be interested in. But yeah, I mean, I guess that kind of answers it. I don't know, but
I think that's a good answer. I also do feel like the whole interviewing thing is very, I mean, I don't really see many people doing that, doing interviews with other people and like posting them online. I feel like that's such a great idea. So kudos to you for coming up with that.
I feel like I didn't come up with it. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't like I looked at other people's channels and I'm like, oh, I want to do this. I mean, I guess I mean, it was like an independent thought, but I mean, obviously people interview people. I don't know. I just feel like, why not? Like, I feel like, I think YouTube used to be very collaborative in the beginnings, and even like up until, I don't know, like 2011, 2012, 13. And then there was a period, and I think we're kind of getting out of this period. There's a period in YouTube, especially I would say like 15 and 16 and 17, 2015, 16 and 17, where people were not collaborating with other people. And you know, kind of like a rat race where it's like, oh, I'm supposed to compete with others. And I just don't have that mentality. I'm not in competition with anybody else. So I feel like, I mean, not everybody I interview has a YouTube channel, but like the people that do, like I want to lift them up. I don't know if you noticed this, but like everybody I interview, unless I accidentally like leave out their channel, if I know they have a channel, I always put them in my like featured creators, just because I feel like it's like, why not?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I feel like that's a very kind thing to do, and
I don't even see it as that. I'm just like, I don't think of myself as a nice person.
Yeah, you just do it automatically, kind of thing.
Yeah.
I saw in the comments, Michelle in like all caps, like, how do I get a copy of that song? So Emily will post, I mean, all the links in the description, like to my channel and Spotify and stuff like that. But yeah, hope you guys like that stuff that I put out.
Well, you're about to have some fangirl and boys.
I really appreciate all the positive feedback. But I also saw when I asked like who was like your inspiration, and someone said Video Game Donkey. Like this guy. Video game. Do you know Video Game Donkey?
I've heard of.
He basically makes like video game parodies. Like he makes fun of video games, but I mean, just the fact that he would that channel was on the comments was funny in itself. But
that is really funny. Well, I really do think that unless there's anything else, I think that this is a good time to end things. Unless everybody is pressing for more, I don't know. But
you'll post like things after the interview is over, right? Because I feel like there's like confusion in the comments.
Oh, as far as like your links and stuff?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. No, what I'll do.
You're like looking for it now, and like they can't find it, so like that makes sense. Yeah.
Oh, why don't you? I mean, you might as well in the chat right now.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Stuff in the chat. So write stuff in the chat right now. After this, just like send me all the stuff, and I'll put it in the description, and I can also put it in a comment too and pin the comment. So
awesome.
Yeah.
Trying to do everything as quick as possible because I don't want to. You know that feeling when you're being watched as you're doing something?
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, that's what's happening now. But here it goes.
Yes, because actually, I mean, I guess the main reason I'm hurrying this along is I actually have an interview after this at 10:30. So.
Oh my God. Yeah, I also saw that you have like 4 interviews on Sunday. And
this is a last minute one.
Oh my goodness.
So it's an ESTP.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You're gonna it's gonna be on your channel, right?
Ooh. Yeah, I'm gonna basically, when we get off, I'm gonna just set it up and just do this thing again. So
just getting the final link. 1 second. Oh, come on, internet.
Ooh. Great. Are you kidding? Poople! Mr. Poops, come here! Yeah. He knows his name.
What did you call him?
Mr. Poop. Mr. Poop.
Oh man.
Because he's a piece of shit, doggy.
That is so mean.
You're a little shitty. Yes, you are. You're a shitty boy.
Oh my
But
goodness.
you're cute shit. Ew. You're cute shit.
All right. Here we go. All right, I sent the links on the chat. Awesome. Ah, your pets are so cute, man. I love it.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
All right. Well, that being said, I will maybe not like because of the interview, maybe not directly. Well, I guess I could. It's not that hard. I'll just copy and paste and put it in the description. But yeah, so you guys should definitely subscribe to Andrew's channel and check him out on Spotify and support him. Yeah.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm glad that you came on. I know that you were nervous, but I'm glad you did it.
I was so nervous like the entire day. Like I woke up, I'm like, oh my God, the interview's today. Like, oh my God. Like I was like freaking out. But yeah, I'm so glad I did this. This was really fun.
Well, I'm glad you did too, because now you have some fans and you got to see Fleur and Henry. And yeah. So I will talk to everybody very shortly since I'm about to get on another interview. But as far as you go, bye guys.
All right, bye. Thanks for having me.